Hello, y'all. Welcome to Jackalope Tales, Urban Legends in Music, where we uncover, is it real or is that their thing, a jackalope? I'm your host, Charles Mooney.
And I'm Lisa Umbarger. And Charles and I are original members of the Toadies, and now we're doing a podcast.
Yeah. And we're talking about some interesting stuff today.
Yeah. I think the best way to describe record labels are banks that steal all your money. And today we're going to talk about two turbulent relationships with record labels and artists.
Ooh, I know. I'm talking about Prince today.
And I'm going to talk about the Stone Roses.
See, I didn't know one about the Stone Roses.
Yeah.
Oh, they throw stones?
Yes.
And roses?
And paint.
Oh, oh man. Ooh.
Yeah.
This is going to be good.
I kind of love them more.
Yeah. It always seems like the whole thing about record labels and bands is just oil and water from the get-go.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the record label is really, I mean, they are a business.
Right.
They want to make money, but God, their dick's about making money sometimes.
Yeah. And I don't know if anyone knows this, but you really can't audit a record label.
What?
You really cannot. It's really hard.
You can't ask for the books?
No.
Oh.
So if you do, it will cost millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Oh, God.
Because people have tried.
Wow.
That had deeper pockets than we do, but they charge you for everything. They print a poster, they charge you for it. Everything is on the books, and they keep a running tally of everything that you owe them. Because when we did Rubberneck, it took us 2 years to break even.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah. And we didn't take a tour bus and all that stuff right off because we were saving money.
Yeah.
We were being very, very thrifty.
Yeah. You rode around in a van for a while
with no roadies.
Oh.
And
so they're basically like plumbers. You just pay them by the hour if you're going to demand some stuff from them.
Right. And, you know, they have a lot of people, and you're paying for every bit of it. If they fly to a show, you're paying for it. If they're flying a publicist out to do to be there when you do a Rolling Stone interview, you're paying for it.
It's all out of your pocket.
It's all out of your pocket.
And that's why they always push for you to buy merch at the shows, because that's the only thing the record label's not getting their hands on.
Right.
God.
If you're lucky.
Oh, no.
If you're not part of Live Nation and all that shit where you sign a contract with them and they're doing your merch and taking your money.
Wow.
So it's really hard to be an artist on a major label, a major tour.
Yeah. I mean, the benefit of signing is, yes, you get the massive distribution. You get the upfront money to be able to help you do some things. But then it's like finishing college. You're already in debt.
Right. It's worse than a student loan.
I guess your bunghole can be stretched in college and as a band. God.
And as you get older, you lose elasticity of it. I mean, come on.
I know. That's why all the musicians walk funny.
Right. And are in diapers now.
Well, see, I mean, I guess Prince kind of walked funny. But he was so little.
It was the high heels.
But
actually, he walked pretty good in the high heels.
He had practice. I know. Him and Kiss, they could walk on high heels.
I would fall so many times. I can't walk in Vans.
I fall in flats.
I know, just like my little flat skateboard shoes, and I'm like,
oh yeah, no. Seeing those kids ride with those little wheels in their shoes. Oh God, no.
I wanted to try them, but then I was like, I'll break a hip. But don't they look fun?
Oh,
but you have to balance just right and lift up your toe. And I was like, oh.
I actually tried rollerblading when I was like in my late 30s, early 40s. Dumbest thing ever.
Did you hurt yourself?
Oh, I fell a few times, and then it got to the point where I couldn't quite figure out how to stop, so I always had to roll into someone's grass. So you'd get the friction of the grass and a softer place to fall.
We played roller hockey, so
Ooh.
I can still skate, and I will get the
Look at
skates
that.
out. I know,
Sporting the jersey and can play.
but I will ice skate and roller skate. In fact, when we were on tour, I think I've said this a few times, I took rollerblades and I took my ice skates because if we played a big arena, there's ice under that. And so we would skate whenever there was ice still.
You were ready for anything.
There was a couple places where they let me skate. You go and talk to the arena director and they'll go, yeah, we'll clear you out of space. So one time on the White Zombie tour, it was so awesome because the practice rink was right next to the arena. And I skated on the clean, nice ice and watched a White Zombie show.
Wow. So great. No way.
It was
like
good.
Doing spins and all that stuff. Damn. Yeah. That's the coolest way to see a show.
Yeah.
Oh, and you can only probably get that once.
Yeah, that will never happen again. Unless someone hooks me up. Come on, stars, hook me up.
Take your skates wherever you go. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, Prince, oh God, he went through hell with Warner Brothers Records.
I love Prince, by the way.
Yeah, I mean,
I really do.
I do appreciate him as an artist, and God, an amazing guitar player.
Yeah.
So much appreciation.
Underrated guitar player.
Big time.
Writer and producer. I mean, all of pretty much the whole anything that was on the radio in the 80s for a giant chunk of the 80s, he wrote or produced or had some kind of
just all over.
Yeah, fingerprints
TV.
all over it.
But yeah, he signed with Warner Brothers in 1978. So,
wow.
And he was 18 years old.
Really?
When they signed him. So, and I was 10. So,
me too.
I know. You were close.
I was not
very
10.
Close. But Prince compared his contract with Warner Brothers as a form of slavery. And he had an almost 40-year history of battling over his music with them.
I can see that.
God, no one wanted to give in. It's like you just dig your heels in and the battle is hard.
So the contract he signed when he was that young, do you know anything about that contract? It was probably a shitty deal.
Oh, it was a shitty deal because he wasn't, of course, churning out hits at that point.
Right.
It was, they even say it was during the time when record labels weren't so quick to sign someone and then drop them if their first record did poorly.
Right.
They saw it as an investment at that point in time. So they did put a lot towards developing him. But you know that, I mean, his return on it must have been shitty because if you're not getting the big revenue coming in,
right,
they're not going to give you that much.
Well, see, it is kind of like slavery because if they're not even paying him any attention and he's putting out music and touring, maybe doing probably regional tours because they're probably not giving him a whole lot of money to tour.
Yeah.
And there's, let's say Sony comes up and is like, we really like what you're doing. He's locked into that crap contract.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. And I think another part of it was not necessarily the money. It was more of they owned his music.
What about the creative license? So was he able to do creatively or did he have to listen to what the record label says?
They would try to. They gave instances of where they went into the studio one time and they listened to what he was doing. And they were like, well, we really think you need to do this and this. And then he was immediately like, get the fuck out of my studio.
Good.
So
good.
I know. I mean, it takes balls to say that to the people who are giving you the money to do it.
Right.
But he had musical integrity.
I agree.
So that was a lot of it there. But his albums didn't do well early on. From 1978 to 81, he didn't even score much of a big hit at all. But the label kept him. And then came 1982 when MTV launched.
Right.
And that was the same year that Prince released 1999. And
That was so good.
I mean, the whole Let's Go Crazy video, God, every time, because my aunt and uncle had cable and we didn't, but every time we'd go over there, that thing was playing nonstop.
Right.
But it was a phenomenal run for Prince. But things really began to change around 1993. Prince and Warner Brothers started to fight over the money, of course, and the music ownership.
Right.
So, and it was then that Prince decided to really do what he could to kind of express his anger and frustration about it. So that was when he started writing Slave on his cheek.
Right.
And I know when we were talking about it before, you said that he really got mentally beaten down by this thing.
Yeah, I think I'd heard stories that he actually almost had a mental breakdown because of the stress of it. And I mean, if you're an artist, and I know a lot of stories personally about him, because I've talked to some of the producers. The Toadies interviewed one of his producers for Rubberneck.
Oh, yeah.
And we mostly just wanted to sit and hear Prince stories about how he worked in the studio.
Fascinating.
Which is incredible. But he gets in a zone, and I don't want to say artists are fragile, but I think the creative flow is.
Yeah.
And I think Warner Brothers broke him.
Yeah. He didn't like the fact that they owned basically the Prince name.
Right.
Because there was that point.
It was his God-given freaking name.
I know. And he was even saying, it's like, my mother gave me that name at birth, and now Warner Brothers has it. And that is when he changed his name to that little symbol thing.
The Prince, the artist formerly known as Prince.
Yes, that's what they started to call him because they couldn't figure out what to say with that symbol.
Right.
But that was the whole fact that they were using his or owned his name was part of his reason for that. The other part was he wanted to screw with Warner Brothers because they were the distributor, of course, of the music. And it's one of those where he changed that, and then Warner Brothers, as a result, had issues with shipping and everything, because how do you label things with a symbol?
Right.
And then every music journal, every periodical, everything, they had to send to them specifically. I guess back then it'd be a disc or something with the font that provided them the ability to type that symbol, because there's no way to make that symbol on the computer.
Right. There's not that letter.
Yeah. Yeah. So that really kind of, he was just doing anything he could to really screw it up.
It was a marketing nightmare.
Well, and whenever he would be interviewed and asked about the name change, he never said it was because of Warner Brothers owning my name.
I'm pretty sure he couldn't, right? I think if he said something, it might open him up to.
That could have been, because he was really just saying it was a time in his life where he felt like a different person or a change or something like that.
I think he said that so he wouldn't be sued, because he could claim creatively, I've got to do this, and now I'm the symbol because it feels religious or whatever. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I did hear some interviews, and he refrained from saying anything shitty to Warner Brothers, but Warner Brothers was saying all sorts of shitty things about him.
That drives you nuts when you can't say a word.
I think, though, he liked it. It was kind of like
a
cat and mouse. Yeah. I mean, because they were pissed off, and he was just like totally like churning the butter, churning it.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So
because the amount of money they were making off that guy, the record label had to be tolerating so much from him. Because it's like, because anyone else, they would have fired their ass right then and there.
Yeah.
But because it was Prince,
they couldn't.
Yeah, no, it would be shooting themselves in the foot.
And I bet you those record executives thought, well, one day we're going to be able to talk him out of the symbol thing, and he'll be our friend again, and he's going to have a hit record.
Right?
Yeah.
No. And also what was going on is since he couldn't break free from the contract, doing all this stuff and trying to work it out, he did fulfill the terms of the contract. Ultimately, he ended up releasing tons of music.
Right.
And the record label didn't like that at all either, because they were wanting him to slow the process of maybe one album a year so that they would deem it quality music and that it wouldn't saturate the market and be just like tons of crap coming out.
So he was just trying to fulfill his contract and get the fuck out
Oh yeah,
as fast as he could, so he could do his own thing.
And I think he even released one album. I can't remember which one it was, but where you could get it for free. He was just doing everything he possibly could, just to at least meet whatever the terms of the contract were, so he could then just bail. So, but yeah, it officially, the battle ended in 1996. And that's when he did leave the label. Sadly, he never quite achieved the level. I mean, of course, live shows sold out, and things like that. But when it came to the records, he just never got quite the big level of success that he did in those 80s and early 90s. So he kind of but I think he was happiest that way, because then he had control of everything.
Well, I know music changed. So 93 is when the battle started happening. What's happening in 93? Grunge, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's in full throttle grunge. And so MTV changed, which was his bread and butter. And musical taste changed. Radio changed. So there were a lot of other things that happened. And I think that, with Warner Brothers fucking with him, really messed him up. And I wonder what would have happened if he was that different sound that happened during the grunge era, or if he made something that was influenced by that, because he's a great guitar player. What would happen if like he did a collaboration with Kurt Cobain or something like that? Because he did a lot of collaborations. Can you imagine?
We can only wonder.
God, that would have been so cool.
Dang.
Maybe in heaven, rock and roll heaven.
Man, the pearly gates. They're playing at the gates.
But it makes me sad what happened to Prince.
It is.
I didn't like those records with the symbols. When he was the symbol, I didn't like those very much. But I also knew what was going on with the record label, and I just kind of assumed that he was putting out shit purposefully.
Right.
But I don't know.
Well, I think that was to meet that quota. He was just kind of throwing demos out, and things like that. So
here's a turd, put it out. I only need two more
mark
records.
Off my contract.
A little tick on the side of the prison wall.
Now you got one about the Roses of Stone.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Stone Roses. We worked at the record store when this album came out.
Yes.
And it was very different sounding.
Caught everyone by surprise.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they acted like little punks. If you see any of their interviews or whatever, but their music was kind of psychedelic.
Well, they were those little Brits.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were these little chair face British guys with the hair, and they wore
bob hair.
Yeah. And they had baggy pants.
Yeah.
No one was wearing baggy pants then.
I know.
With the baggy wide legs. But the Stone Roses showed up in the music scene about 30 years ago.
Wow.
And they were really cocksure. They were really ambitious. And they created basically the default sound of British music in the 90s.
True.
They started in the 80s, but everything that you hear from British music in the 90s.
Yeah. They laid the groundwork.
Definitely Stone Roses influence.
Oh, Oasis.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh,
so there's no way Oasis happens without Stone Roses.
No.
They made the blueprint for all of these bands. Blur, everybody.
Yeah.
So basically everyone's a copycat of them. So why aren't they a bigger name?
I know.
We're going to talk about it.
Ooh.
So they were kind of this emotional, hard on their sleeves kind of band.
Okay.
They were very emotional. Everything that happened, they would talk to the press about it. They had no filters,
Ooh.
which I think is why they were so good. That might have been part of it,
Yeah.
but they were really, amped up just on
All
about
that
everything.
angst.
Yeah. But then they played this music that was just like,
I know it was so chill.
Yeah,
and
super
the
chill.
psychedelic aspect.
So maybe that's what soothed the beast. I don't know.
I know.
But it led to some great music. Whatever
right.
the recipe was, it turned some good music out.
Oh.
So I went back and listened to some Stone Roses because I haven't listened to that album in a long time, the first album.
Now I'm gonna have to.
It was really fun to revisit that record.
Yeah,
I don't like the second one as much as Second Coming. But we'll get into that as well. So let me get in. So they made some pretty big missteps. And I think, because they were thinking emotionally, they did some stuff. So they signed as their manager this guy named Gareth Evans.
Okay.
And he was a club owner, a venue owner. And let me just say this cautionary tale for everybody. Never, ever, ever pick someone who is a venue owner as your manager.
I know that made me cringe when you said that.
Right?
It's like, oh.
The Toadies did it. And I'm just going to tell you, never fucking do that.
Oh.
Right? Yeah.
That's a bunch of shit.
And I won't name that person. So we don't have a lawsuit. But yeah, look up who the Toadies manager was and write hate mail to that guy.
Yay.
So anyway.
I'll do that.
They were signed to a little known label named Zumba.
Okay.
Actually, Zumba. And so they danced. They did, or Zumba. I don't know. Zumba.
Yeah,
so they did, the little dances and stuff. No, they didn't do that with old people.
That would have been cool.
But they were on a different arm of Zumba, and it was called Silvertone.
Okay.
And Gareth Evans brokered the deal and signed a deal for the band without consulting them.
Oh.
Sounds familiar, everybody.
Holy hell, really? For y'all too?
Yeah, stuff was done behind our backs. So the contract was very, very, very restrictive, even for the time. And one of the things that the contract contained that really sucks for the Stone Roses is, God, I hate this for them, that they wouldn't make anything. They wouldn't make a dime for the first 3,000 records.
God.
Or sorry, 30,000. 3,000 is one thing, but 30,000. So 30,000 records, and they're not going to make a dime. That little label takes everything.
Or that manager does.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a little payola under the table.
Yeah.
So, but this is not an unusual thing to happen to bands, young bands. This happens to quite a bit.
They just think that's what comes with the territory.
Right. So you trust people, and they trusted this guy who was a jerk, and they got screwed right out of the door. And this contract led to years and years and years of lawsuits back and forth. But the band's still putting out material.
Wow.
And still writing, and they're still really young. So they're like, we're just going to put out a record with somebody else. They want to get on a major label, right?
Yeah.
So they were like, fuck these guys that signed us. And that guy that signed that stupid contract, they fired the manager. Okay. And they started shopping their stuff around.
Do you know how many albums they put out when they were on that Zumba
thing?
Okay, just
one. I think one. So, and they had been on like a couple tiny labels, and this is a very tiny label, right? Okay. So the band thought that they had moved on from the label drama because they thought, we're just going to ignore it and do our music. Okay. And their manager relationship was destroyed. The relationship with this label was destroyed, and they just want to go do music. So they're moving on, and they had recorded a single before they signed with Silvertone, and they did it on this label called Revolver. And the Stone Roses are picking up momentum. They're getting popular. And that first little label releases a single and makes a video without them.
Whoa.
And the single is called Sally Cinnamon.
Now they were still under contract with that. The contract
They were not
had never
under
been
contract.
made null and void, had it?
Well, I don't think so. It was still being litigated.
Okay.
So they're still doing music, and all of this litigation is happening.
So it's
behind
like
the
you're going
scenes.
through a divorce, but then you're like
Dating.
You're
You're
dating.
dating.
Yeah.
You're-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
You're on Bumble.
Okay, I got the idea.
Right. So, but this one label, Revolver, had this one single that they did when they were just kids,
Yeah.
Sally Cinnamon, and they released it and made this crazy video and stuff and started selling it because kids could not get enough Stone Roses.
Oh wow.
Right.
Yeah.
So the band was pissed. They were supposed to go in the studio to record. They were supposed to be in Wales recording.
Uh-huh.
And they decided to take a detour. And they went to the offices, the Revolver offices.
Oh yes. Okay.
Okay. And this is the story that most people tell about Stone Roses. And this is the first story I ever heard about.
Now the
band.
Revolver offices or the Zumba offices?
This is the Revolver because the Zumba Silvertone is still happening in the background.
Right.
Lawsuit.
Okay.
This is one that just pops its head up like whack-a-mole. It's like, oh, we want in on this action too. We're going to release a single and make this shit video without you.
Okay, so that
Without
was
permission.
the current label that was doing
This is not the current label.
Oh.
This is a label from way back when, a single that they made. Way back before.
God.
Yeah, sorry. This is a very complicated story, so thank you for cleaning it up. But yeah, Revolver was before anything. They made a single. That was it.
Okay. I'm following you.
And so they're pissed because the other stuff's being litigated. This one pops up out of the woodwork. And so they drive by the offices of the Revolver label. And in the offices were the record label owner and his wife, and they brought paint. They brought red and blue paint, and they decided to make an impromptu Jackson Pollock painting. And have you seen the album? Their first album has that.
Yeah, just a whole splatter.
Right. They did that in their office.
All
over it.
Hell yeah.
And all over the cars in the parking lot and on the street and on the building. And they just took all this paint, just freaking sloshed it around and covered everyone in paint.
Damn.
So, and then they hopped in their car or whatever on the train, I don't know, and went to Wales to record their record.
Yeah.
They were 2 hours late, and the producer said that they showed up covered in paint, like fell through the door and got paint everywhere. They had it in their hair and it was still not dry. And after 2 hours, I guess they were totally coated. They got paint all over the stuff in the studio.
Oh God. I'm imagining them running out of that place where they just threw all the paint and jumping onto one of those double-decker buses.
I know, wouldn't that be awesome?
It starts off
Right
slow. Exactly. Oh God.
Take me to the Queen.
Yeah.
They're like screaming stuff because they had really, really hated the Queen as well.
Oh,
but that's a
like
different
the new
story.
Sex Pistols.
They were kind of like that. They were little cherub-faced Brits with a punk rock insides.
Yeah,
just like
that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they look like, little workaday Brits.
Yeah.
Their teeth weren't even that bad.
Lucky them.
So the sad thing about this is in between their debut album, which was the toast of everybody.
Oh, it was.
So everyone loved it. The critics loved it. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
It was played nonstop on alternative radio.
Right.
And because of all the lawsuits and the bullshit, and they were arrested, by the way, for the paint incident.
Oh.
So they had some stuff to clean up from that.
Oh,
literally.
They make them go clean it up.
Here's a sponge, mate.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, wiping the cars in the offices.
So But in between their first album and their second album,
Yeah.
5 years transpired.
Holy hell. And this is just with one album released.
Yes. One album and then some, bullshit
And
little
the
singles and
single
stuff.
crap.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in that 5 years, who took their place at the head of the class?
Yeah.
Oasis is number one. And then, all those other bands that were on that tip.
All the ones that copied them.
Right. Every other British band stepped up and got their money. Because to me, that should be Stone Roses' money.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who made the sound and influenced everybody.
Yeah. It's like they were in the front of the line, knelt down to tie their shoe, and then the others cut in.
Right.
Oh,
yeah. So their second album, I don't like it as much. And neither did the fans nor the critics. They're like, oh, we waited too long. And And so it really, with the lawsuits and the tepid response to the second record, which I'm pretty sure it's called Second Coming, it destroyed them.
Wow.
Mentally, emotionally, physically. The band broke apart. They have gotten back together and done some reunion shows. And there was talk at one time that they were going to do a record. I can't remember if they did another record.
Yeah.
But it just, they never could pick up where they left off. Kind of like with Prince. All of the bullshit happens and it's really hard to get back in that creative flow.
Yeah. Yeah. They lost all the opportunity. What if they had put that second album out?
Oh man, like back when
in
they
a year.
Right.
And to have that, the juices flowing.
Right. And I think a lot of people talk about the sophomore slump that happens with artists.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that there is a sophomore slump. I think it's a record label fight that usually happens in between the first and second records. I really do. I think it's record label interjects themselves. So with the Toadies, everyone's like, oh, one hit wonder. Yeah. But on our second record, we had the first record, no one really messed with us. No one came to the studios. We were pretty sequestered.
Yeah.
And on the second one, we had people showing up all the time. People telling, oh, write another one like that. And the Toady song Best of Three is actually about our A&R guy coming up and telling me, we don't care if you just write me. He said, write me 3 songs and I don't care if you fart on the rest.
Wow.
He wanted 3 songs like Rubberneck.
Wow.
And he didn't care if we fart on the rest. And seriously, that's a quote.
Damn.
So, and it fucks with you. It really fucks with you.
Yeah.
And it fucks with the relationship within the band. And I think that is a sophomore slump. I think it's caused by the label.
No, that's a perfect point because you don't really hear the sophomore slump from records where they're DIY bands.
Right.
That is
right.
You have nailed it. You need to write a book.
I'm going to write a book. I am writing it.
I don't know. Do people read books anymore?
No one reads. So I'm going to probably do a podcast about it.
Ooh, hey.
Welcome to our podcast.
This chair is not going to be here next week, I guess.
No, this is part of it.
It's the Lisa show.
Welcome to the Lisa. No,
I think that's a genius.
I really do think that is true.
Right.
That you have to go through all the bullshit, and then you get off a tour and you realize you don't have any money.
Yeah. That
they're driving around in their brand new cars wearing a Rolex because our A&R guy got a brand new Escalade and had a Rolex.
God. He was pimp.
He was like a skate guy. And by the way, Ray, I love you. I love you so much. And I do not blame him at all.
Yeah.
Because there were darker forces at work than our A&R guy. But he did get paid for us and paid well. And I was working at Starbucks. So, I mean,
I think Mark was working in a comic book store.
Yeah, in a comic book
something is so
distribution place. Yeah. So I mean, come on. I mean, don't feel sad for us, but I mean, fuck.
I can't help but feel a little sad.
But sad.
Yeah. But sad.
Yeah. But sad.
That's the worst kind of sad.
I don't like record companies. The little labels that take care of their artists are pretty fucking awesome.
Damn. I know.
Epitaph, Sub Pop, all of those. You don't hear these kinds of shit stories
No.
about those labels.
Mm-mm. And Grass Records was great to us.
Oh my God. Yeah. Camille and Shannon, shout out. We love you.
But yeah, God, the curse of getting big.
Yep.
Fucker.
Man. You know what soothes sadness from record companies?
Is it what I'm hearing right now?
It's a fucking kazoo. That's what it is.
The kazoo, yeah, it is. It's calming. It's
the
soothing.
one thing the record companies cannot touch.
Yeah. Well, it's calm on the exterior like the Stone Roses, but then it can throw pain around.
A little punk rock in the inside.
And want to kill you.
It's a spit that's inside of the kazoo. It's a little spitty.
Yeah. Yep. It is. Lone Star Salute time.
Yes. This is where we share with you 1-star reviews of musicians, their records, their tours.
Yeah.
Anything to do with music.
Yeah.
And someone wrote a 1-star review.
Yeah. And
it's like Yelp for musicians.
A scream for attention.
Right.
Yeah. Now, my review is by someone named D. Miller.
Okay.
And it's a review.
I know them.
Well, you can talk to him later. His review of Dirty Mind.
Ooh. So, okay. All right.
He titles his review, "It's Over, the Fat Lady Has Sung." So he starts off saying, "Blech. After all the time and energy I devoted to Prince in the 80s, he craps out another useless derivative collection of sleep-inducing junk. What a waste. If I wanted to hear bland soul funk, I'd turn on a smooth jazz radio station or hang out at the dentist office.
Ooh.
Religion has made you boring. The industry has made you crooked, and your self-righteousness has made you unlikable."
Shit.
I know. He attacks them at all angles.
I didn't like that record either.
No. Where's your 1-star?
But I'm not going to write a 1-star review
Yeah.
for Prince because to me, he has great latitude in my mind to do whatever he did. No way anyone is playing that in a dentist office. Like, what kind of cool dentist do you have that you go in there and go, "Is this Dirty Mind? Oh, this is pretty cool."
I know a 1-star on Prince is like a 1-star on the Bible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So Prince's 1-star is like everyone else's 5-star.
Yeah. Oh, it's a whole different way.
Right. He's totally out of that league.
A 1-star is a 5-star.
For anyone else. Yeah, because he's already off the chart.
Yeah.
Like
now,
for real.
Now, there was just one review that I read that I kind of just had to mention because I think there should be review etiquette. I
agree.
And in some instances, when I'm looking at reviews, people have given a 1-star, not because of the music. For example, the one I saw was CD case badly cracked because they packed heavy bags of cat food I ordered along with my CDs and movies. And so this person gave Prince a 1-star because they packed cat food in the box with the CD and it cracked. So people,
when I got my Prince CD, when I got Dirty Mind, it didn't come with cat food. So I'm disappointed. And now I'm going to give it a 1-star review that I didn't get fucking cat food.
Oh, see. But people need to remember when you're doing a review,
right? You're
not doing it a review on the shipping.
There's quite a few of those reviews that I've read that are hilarious.
Funny, though.
Maybe we should just start sharing those reviews. The CD cover was cracked or the shipping. It took 6 weeks and it was supposed to only
right.
You gave this to my neighbor.
Yeah.
It was misdelivered.
I thought I was getting the DVD. Yeah.
Or those people that gave the Beavis and Butthead movie a bad review because they got the one in Russian.
Oh, nothing will piss you off more than a foreign language.
Right.
So, all right. And what did you have?
There are no negative reviews of Stone Roses.
Wow.
There's just not.
Not even the second album.
No.
Wow.
Still it's like 4 and 3 stars.
Okay.
So, and I feel like it makes no sense to even pile on to dig any deeper.
No.
So, because the Olympics are happening, USA. USA. I picked a French band.
Oh, okay, cool.
And this is a review of Discovery by Daft Punk.
Oh,
French, right?
Yeah.
Were they they weren't on the opening thing. Why wasn't Daft Punk there?
Oh, that would have been a good
That would
one.
have been fucking great.
Oh, with their
Put them on the
helmets
boat. Put them on the boat at the front of it.
Oh my god!
Jet skis.
Oh,
Daft Punk.
On jet skis.
Oh,
holy
so
hell!
good. I maybe should have planned this whole damn thing.
Oh,
I would have kept Gojira.
Yeah.
And I would have put Daft Punk on jet skis.
I fucking love that.
Anyway,
idea.
So this is by Robert Crisco.
Crisco?
Crisco. I know.
Okay.
I know. And I was like, oh, it sounds too much like a lard.
Sounds lard. Okay.
And to me, this is so fucking funny. These guys are so French. I want to force feed them and cut out their livers. Young moderns who have made the Detroit Berlin adjustment might find their squelchy synth sounds humanistic. Young moderns whose asses sport parallel ports may dance until they crash, but yank fun is much less spiritual. So that God Bless America one more time is merely an annoying novelty stateside. So he's saying Americans fucking hate Daft Punk. And do you hate Daft Punk?
I don't hate them. No.
One more time. I mean, come on, let's celebrate.
Yeah.
So the way our butts plug in, there's no better beats. There's no better beats, but I'll take Jadakiss CD. The Jadakiss CD? Instead of Daft Punk to dance to?
No, I can't agree with that. No.
One more time. Yeah.
No, that's
okay. Anyway,
that's messed up. Yeah.
He wants to eat their livers. Ew. With some fava beans or something.
Yeah, some fava.
Right.
Oh, that's messed up. Well,
I'm pro French music.
Or he's just attacking the French. Because that's
so
what
many
a lot of
people
Americans do. I know.
So you're telling me he's a German.
Ooh.
Right? They attack the French all the time.
I'm sure
they hate each other.
Yeah.
Is Crisco a French name? I mean, a German name?
I know.
Sounds kind of
French. It does sound kind of German, though.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that Robert is a Nazi.
Lieutenant Crisco? Yeah. I think you could be on to something.
From the Third Reich?
Yeah.
And he's going to eat their liver. Force feed them and eat their liver.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You could be, yeah.
Oh, God. You know what's happier, though, than Daft Punk?
Oh.
Celebration music.
Yeah. It's that happy ending.
The happy ending.
Oh.
Let's go over these stories.
Yeah. We talked about Prince and Warner Brothers. And sadly, all that shit's true.
It's true. God. Same with Stone Roses. It's true. There is nothing to add there except I'll keep adding. Everyone knows record labels are horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a given, this starting point. So there's no way we made this crap up. It's about record labels.
Sadly,
and they suck.
It's reality. I know.
So
I keep wanting to turn them into HR.
You don't even need us to tell you it's not a Jackalope tale.
No.
It's those slimy record labels.
Yeah. It's all their fault.
So if you ever hear a good story about a record label, it's probably a small indie.
Oh.
Right. So this is how
you
This is how you can tell if it's a Jackalope tale.
Yeah.
If it's a big major label and it's a good story, it's a fucking Jackalope tale because there are no good stories about major labels.
With you.
They all suck.
Yeah.
But if it's an indie label, it's probably true.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't expect a good story about a bar manager becoming a
manager. Yeah. So if you hear a venue manager turning into a venue manager turning into a band manager and they're good.
Yeah.
It's a Jackalope.
It's a Jackalope.
Total Jackalope tale.
Yep. Ask Lieutenant Crisco. Yeah.
Gonna eat their liver.
Yes.
So, hey everybody, thank you for listening today. And please support Jackalope Tales in any way that you can, and follow the links on our show notes.
Yes.
And Find us on all the socials.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like, subscribe, rate, leave us reviews.
Lots of reviews.
Apple Podcast, anywhere you get your podcast, YouTube video. And just one thing I've noted on where they can send us a text message.
Yeah.
I cannot answer back. They
Oh,
won't.
no.
I know, it sucks. So
we'll answer you here on the podcast.
So do something rhetorical, because you ain't going to get an answer back.
Or
But
maybe
we're
we can
reading it.
We're reading it, and maybe we can answer it here.
Yeah, there you go. I was like, but I still don't have their phone number. I'm being a dumbass.
No, we
Yeah.
can.
We're
We're still figuring this out with you.
Yeah,
I mean,
but at least you can send notes to us or ideas. Or something.
Right.
Yeah.
No dick pics still.
I think it only takes text. So,
damn.
I hope.
Damn it. But thank you so much, and join us next time as we question: is it real, or is it a jackalope tale, or is it just a one-way text to nowhere?
No dick pics.